What's up, news? It's the Russian dude. Let's get straight to the point and talk about some ridiculous Russian propaganda. Because today we have a real Russian propaganda presented to us by the main expert in this thing from Russia, Vladimir Solovyov. And recently he started to go literally personal after some famous and influential people. And long story short, this time he was criticizing the wife of the president of France, Emmanuel Macron. He basically said that the real woman already left Emmanuel a long time ago and hiding somewhere in the south of France, enjoying her money. And in the meantime, the wife of the president of France is played by a Russian actor. He even put these pictures side by side to prove his point, saying, guys, look at them. They are absolutely identical. They look alike. There is no way President of France still keeps his wife. I'm 100% certain, Mr. Solovyov said, that the woman is played by a Russian man. Conveniently, this Russian actor is a foreign agent and considered to be an extremist inside Russia, so there is a criminal prosecution going against him. So it's like all the pieces of puzzles fit perfectly together in Solovyov's narrative. There is literally nothing much I can add in this segment of the video, so as always now let's get serious and let me first of all give you an update from the eastern Ukrainian front lines and 500,000 Russian soldiers becoming good Russians. Then we're gonna talk about anti-Putin forces finally launching once again raids against the Z army and crushing them everywhere all at once. And to begin with, right now in the Kharkiv frontline city of Vovchansk, Ukrainians have absolute success even inside city street fights. So Russians had to retreat outside of the city borders and then fortunately continue to destroy it from far. At this very moment the city looks approximately like this, which is confirmation of yet another favorite tactic which Russians are using. But if you remember from my previous videos, there are thousands of Russians to the north of Ukrainian border assembling as we speak, and right now according to the Ukrainian intelligence there is a potential attempt by Russians against the next settlement called Zolochiv, as you can see located right here on this map. But one thing for sure what we can tell is that whenever Putin and the Z army they claimed that the only reason of our Kharkiv offensive is to create this so-called buffer zone and protect neighboring regions such as Belgrade and Kursk. Well, this so-called buffer zone, which was never a buffer zone, this whole idea has failed. Next we get closer to the actual eastern front lines and our first stop brings us to Kupiansk, where you can see a Russian multiple launch rocket system called Grad BM-21 being fully deconstructed into atoms by Ukrainians. Next is the satellite images from Luhansk, which show the comparison from several different days, and it is basically a confirmation that one of the most recent Ukrainian drone attacks was able to destroy a pretty modern Russian radar called Nebo-M. Next is the video from Donetsk, where local residents reported some very loud noises last day, and then the next stop brings us to Avdiivka, where Russians attempted some more assaults recently. Well, this time they did use military vehicles instead of just sending infantry across open field. Well, Ukrainians were able to successfully repel these attacks using only FPV drones. And just in the last reportedly 1-2 days, Russians attempted approximately 25 different assaults along this Avdiivka front line, not that many of them succeeded, and right here you can see the comparison of the territorial control approximately from May 20th all the way until to May 28th. As you can see, the progress of the Z army in these 8 days is literally minimal. But what is not minimal are the losses of the Z army since the beginning of this war. At least at the moment of recording this video, according to the most recent statistics, more than 500,000. Think about it. 5,100 Russian soldiers became quote-unquote good Russians. And everything that is happening right now, it only feels like that this is just the very beginning of potentially table-turning events, because now we can see more confidence within the Ukrainian ranks. Also, there is a lot of activation by the anti-Putin forces, so let's talk about this right now. But guys, before we proceed, can you please like this video, subscribe to my channel? What you did yesterday, it helped a lot, but still some people in the comments, they were telling that yes, for some reason YouTube unsubscribed them from our channel, from the Russian Dude. So guys, please go ahead and check if your subscription is still active. If not, please resubscribe. And if you are new to this channel, welcome. Feel free to subscribe. We have these daily videos coming every single day. If you're also interested in the stock market news, I have my second channel, The Russian Dude Investing. The link is down below. And so now let's talk about these anti-Putin forces. The very first time we heard about them was more than a year ago, whenever they did their very first cross-border raid on the territory of Russia, and even Putin himself had to make an emergency broadcast and make some statements to the people of Russia saying that these traitors will never escape our justice. Well, 1 year later, as you can see, they did escape it, and now they even intensified their activities against the Z army. After several months of successful operations, approximately in the beginning of April, they did claim that right now we need a little bit of rest, we're gonna regroup, resupply our forces, and then we're gonna resume our raids against Putin's army. Even Kirill Budanov himself, approximately in the middle of April, he did confirm that yes, these anti-Putin forces, they are planning many raids in the near future, which will start happening just within several of weeks. And indeed, they started to happen. Just in March and April of this year alone, there were already several successful cross-border raids by these people. Then they also helped Ukrainians to defend the positions along Bakhmut and all the way down to Avdiivka frontline. They participated in the defenses of Chasiv Yar and obviously in repelling Russian attempts along Kharkiv frontline. So now, as you can see, it is not just one time those people show up somewhere, then 1-2 days later you never hear about them anymore. No, at this point they are fighting against the regime of Putin everywhere, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore. And just in less than 2 weeks after the announcement they need to take a little break, already started appearing the photos and videos. For example, the very first one was from Kharkiv frontline, where these anti-Putin forces started to destroy the equipment of the Z army. Then in the beginning of May there was this video from the Siberian battalion, which was showing them trying to stop the advancement of Russians in Kharkiv forests. And like mentioned previously, one of the biggest roles those people did in support of Ukraine, they were fighting alongside with them against Russians in Vovchansk. As you can see, Russians were not able to capture the city, so there was a significant impact by those Russian freedom fighters. And just once again, as you can see, in the very beginning, when we heard about them for the very first time, Putin literally swore to find every single one of them and bring them to justice. Since then, he was pretty silent. It was maybe only one time whenever he did mention them in one of his statements, saying that these are the public enemy #1 of the entire Russian Federation. Though this was not met with any reaction by the people of Russia. Subconsciously, almost every single Russian citizen, I'm almost certain, or at least I'm very hopeful, that almost every single Russian citizen subconsciously wants those people to succeed because they are tired of the regime and they want things to change. And then the number of these anti-Putin forces, they started to increase. Now we have, just to say the least, the Freedom of Russia Legion, Russian Volunteer Corps and Siberian Battalion. These are just the 3 most famous ones. Obviously, there are way more than this. And obviously, because Putin right now has way more pressing issues, he simply cannot deal with them all at once. Because simply he is a very secretive person who is not trusting too many people. So he does not want to distribute the responsibilities. He wants to keep everything as much as possible under his own control. Guys, as you might imagine, this is not possible. And simply speaking, those anti-Putin forces, they are waiting just for a slightest chance, for these small cracks within the Putin's regime, and as soon as they do happen, they attack with their full force and take full advantage of these small little chances. And as we already know, one of the main goals of Putin since the beginning of this war was to not let NATO expand to the east. He said that there is absolutely not a single chance that Ukraine is joining the alliance. Well, he still thinks like this, but the probabilities of this actually happening sooner or later, they literally start to increase every single month, and even Americans themselves, they started making very promising statements recently. So guys, let's talk about the possibility of Ukraine joining NATO right now, and this is the extra chapter for my Patreon members. Guys, thank you so much for your support. It means a lot. This is the major source of income right now for my work. The Russian Dude continues thanks to your Patreon memberships. So guys, if you do want to support my work, if you want to see this extra chapter and hundreds of extra photos and videos every single week, please go ahead and check my Patreon. The link is down below for this. Thank you so much. And there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, helps a lot. Don't forget about my second channel, The Russian Dude Investing, and all the other useful links are down below. My PayPal, Instagram, Patreon, and of course merch, where right now we have a new feature. We have this spin the wheel, where you can get some free discounts, literally out of nowhere. Go ahead and try it, it's pretty cool. Like it myself. The link to my merch website is down below. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow.